Hi, welcome back to Movies Recaps. Today I'm presenting a romance comedy film from 2017 titled Love Contractual. Spoilers are ahead. Be warned and enjoy. A woman known as Yi Jin caught her fiancé cheating on her. Before catching him red-handed, Yi Jin had been secretly watching him through security cameras. He used to frequently hand a coded note on yellow paper to his mistress. Yi Jin is a 36-year-old, successful entrepreneur who heads a large company. She is renowned for her strictness and perfectionism in every task she undertakes. Ever since that incident, Yi Jin has come to despise all things yellow, so much so that all the employees in her office were ordered to discard every yellow item upon learning of her aversion. Next, we meet a man named Xiao. He works as a delivery man, although before that, Bo was a skydiving instructor. He has been working tirelessly to afford his nephew's ear surgery. Every day, Bo makes his deliveries on his antique, heavily modified motorcycle. We return to Yi Jin, who still cannot get over her fiancé's betrayal. Because of his behavior, Yi Jin decides to break off their engagement, even though they were about to be married. Shortly after, Yi Jin receives a video call from her best friend, Sophie. Sophie lives in Paris with her children and husband, and Yi Jin pours out her heart, sharing her struggles and the end of her engagement. Sophie encourages Yi Jin by assuring her that one day she will find a worthy man. However, Yi Jin has resolved never to pursue a relationship again. Her trust in men has been shattered, and she declares that she will never marry. Still, despite this decision, Yi Jin secretly hopes to have a child, believing that the bond between a mother and her child lasts forever. The next day, Yi Jin confides her desire for a child to her assistant, not through marriage or a sexual relationship, but via in vitro fertilization. She instructs her assistant to find a man willing to donate his sperm, insisting that the donor must meet specific criteria. Yi Jin also makes it clear that her plan must remain a secret. To execute the plan, Yi Jin's assistant posts a job advertisement for a male assistant, which is merely a cover. One by one, men arrive for the interview, but unfortunately, none satisfy Yi Jin's requirements. In the end, Yi Jin decides to halt her search. Around the same time, Bo arrives at Yi Jin's company to deliver a package and happens to notice the job advertisement for a male assistant on the bulletin board. Seeing the generous salary that comes with the position, Bo decides to apply. Besides, he is in dire need of money for his nephew's surgery. Moments later, we meet a female employee who has just been fired for falsifying the company's financial data. She appears very upset and angry, especially when the items she was carrying tumble to the floor. While cleaning up her belongings, she notices Yi Jin and her assistant. Feeling bitter about her dismissal, the woman desperately stabs Yi Jin with a cutter. Thankfully, Bo is right there to rescue Yi Jin from the woman's frantic attack. After her failed attempt, the woman finally confesses that she fears losing custody of her child if she is no longer employed. She cannot bear the thought of losing the child she loves so dearly. Moved by her confession, Yi Jin feels pity for her and eventually forgives her. Yi Jin then promises that she will provide her with compensation until she secures another job. Grateful for Yi Jin's kindness, the woman admits her error and thanks her. Once the matter is settled, Yi Jin, who appears to have taken an interest in Bo, offers him a job interview. After various tests, it turns out that Bo perfectly fits Yi Jin's criteria. Bo is accepted as Yi Jin's assistant, and soon he signs a work contract. He signs the employment contract without even reading it carefully, for he really doesn't know what his new role entails. His primary concern is money. Yi Jin's assistant then explains to Bo that he will replace her current assistant. The next day, Bo starts his new job, and that very morning, he is tasked with picking Yi Jin up from her house. Bo makes a mistake on his first day by arriving late. Upset by his tardiness, Yi Jin warns Bo to quickly adapt to her busy routine. Otherwise, she will not hesitate to fire him. Bo's first day turns into a complete fiasco, with nothing going as planned. On the second day, Yi Jin insists that Bo not make any further errors, especially since she is scheduled to meet a very important client. While en route to the client meeting, they become caught in a severe traffic jam. Bo then decides to find an alternative route, and despite the longer distance, he is confident he can bypass the congestion and get Yi Jin to her meeting on time. After taking a detour, beyond Bo's expectations, they become stuck in traffic once more. As a result, Yi Jin arrives late for her meeting and scolds Bo harshly, nearly firing him over the mistake. Bo then asks Yi Jin to exit the car, explaining that he has called a friend for assistance. Eventually, Bo drives Yi Jin to the meeting spot on the motorcycle his friend provided, and Yi Jin, with no other choice, reluctantly rides with him. When she reaches her office, Yi Jin meets the important client, who has just arrived as well. The client greets Yi Jin respectfully and expresses admiration for her, noting that as the head of a large company, she isn't hesitant to ride a motorcycle to work. The client also mentions his fondness for antique items, including the motorcycle Yi Jin rides. Impressed by his admiration, the client agrees to work with Yi Jin and signs the contract. Yi Jin is visibly pleased, and her gaze lingers on Bo. A few days later, Bo is taken to the hospital to have his sperm retrieved. Bo initially thinks this is merely a routine health check. While watching a video provided by the hospital, Bo proceeds with the procedure, but the video unexpectedly freezes, and Bo fails to produce the sperm. Yi Jin's female assistant and Yi Jin then convene to discuss Bo's failure. Due to his inability to provide the needed sperm, the assistant announces that Bo's employment contract is terminated. The female assistant finally informs Bo that Yi Jin doesn't actually need a new assistant, he was recruited solely for his sperm donation. The sperm is then designated for Yi Jin's artificial insemination, as she wants a child without being in a relationship with a man. Bo is visibly offended by Yi Jin's words and initially decides to leave, but his departure is halted when Yi Jin offers him a position as her personal assistant at a much higher salary. In the end, Bo agrees to return to work and to donate his sperm to Yi Jin. Yi Jin's female assistant then briefs Bo on how to maintain his health, what he should eat daily and even what kind of underwear to wear, to ensure the production of superior sperm. The assistant, whom Bo refers to as Miss Wei, then hands Bo a form to fill out with all his personal data, including details of his sexual activities. One evening, while Bo is enjoying dinner on the street, he deliberately orders a beer, even though his contract forbids him from consuming alcohol. Unexpectedly, Yi Jin appears and discovers what he has done. Seeing her approach, Bo apologizes, realizing his mistake. Rather than becoming angry, Yi Jin orders a beer for herself too, which makes Bo feel even guiltier for breaching his contract. Shortly thereafter, Yi Jin's female assistant arrives with medical staff, and Bo is forced to accompany them to the hospital to purge all alcohol and toxins from his system. That same night, Yi Jin calls Bo and instructs him to come to her house immediately. When Bo arrives, he is shocked when Yi Jin asks him to go upstairs to her room. In his mind, he assumes Yi Jin is inviting him to make love, so he undresses and prepares himself. However, it turns out that Yi Jin simply needs him to change a light bulb in her room. In the end, Bo must endure the embarrassment of his misunderstanding. The following day, Bo sets out to pick Yi Jin up, only to have her ex-fiancé arrive with a bouquet of flowers. The man comes to plead with Yi Jin to take him back. Yi Jin realizes that Bo can hear her conversation with her ex-fiancé, so she invites him inside. Yi Jin then tells her ex-fiancé that she no longer loves him and will never return to him. The ex-fiancé, unable to accept her decision, continues to beg, sparking further arguments. Fortunately, Bo enters the house and chases the man away. Later, Yi Jin takes Bo to visit her father, who resides in a nursing home. Yi Jin's father suffers from Alzheimer's disease, which causes significant memory loss. Yi Jin asks the doctor treating her father to provide the best possible care and says she will pay any cost. As Yi Jin prepares to leave, her father approaches her, mistakenly believing she is his wife, and asks her to take him home. Yi Jin firmly refuses his request and departs. Once outside, Bo criticizes Yi Jin for her treatment of her father, insisting she should not have treated him so harshly. Yi Jin retorts that her father's behavior is none of Bo's business and that he should not interfere in her personal matters. Later that day, as evening approaches, Yi Jin returns home after a long day of work, only to find that Bo is not there. She tries to contact him, but his phone is off. Eventually, Yi Jin decides to take a taxi home by herself. Upon arrival, she is surprised to find her house in a disheveled, dirty state. It turns out that, without her permission, Bo had secretly brought her father back to her home. Furious that Bo dared to meddle in her personal affairs, Yi Jin and Bo get into a heated argument. In the end, Bo decides to quit his job. A few days later, Bo receives a message from Yi Jin demanding that he pay a penalty for unilaterally terminating his employment contract. Bo immediately storms to Yi Jin's office in a rage, protesting that he cannot afford such a huge fine. Instead of being angry, Yi Jin bursts into laughter at Bo's outburst. Yi Jin then explains why her relationship with her father has always been troubled. In the past, her father had an affair, even in front of Yi Jin's mother. Ever since that, her parents have constantly quarreled. One day, unable to endure her father's behavior any longer, Yi Jin's mother committed suicide. Rather than prompting remorse, her mother's death drove him further into madness. He frequently invited other women to their home. Eventually, Yi Jin decided to leave her father and move to Paris. After hearing Yi Jin's story, Bo apologizes for having been prejudiced against her. The story then shifts back to Yi Jin's house, where she grows curious about why Bo appears so driven to earn money. Bo explains his predicament. He desperately needs funds for his nephew's ear surgery, a procedure to implant a new ear membrane for his hearing problems. That night, Yi Jin and Bo chat over copious amounts of wine until they become thoroughly drunk. The next morning, Yi Jin wakes up shocked to discover that she spent the entire night with Bo. A few days later, Yi Jin takes Bo to Paris for the IVF program she has planned. Upon arrival in Paris, they meet Yi Jin's best friend, Sophie, who has long resided there. Yi Jin then asks Bo to leave, as she needs some time alone with Sophie to discuss her plans. Sophie, who senses a hint of love between Yi Jin and Bo, advises Yi Jin not to proceed with IVF but instead to marry Bo. Yi Jin rejects her best friend's suggestion, insisting that her relationship with Bo is purely professional. The day of Yi Jin's artificial insemination arrives, and she prepares herself for all the procedures. Later that night, Bo approaches Yi Jin, who appears to be deep in thought. Yi Jin reveals that she is considering what she might say one day if her son asks about his father's absence. Using the work contract as an excuse, Yi Jin begs Bo to help her devise a story. Bo suggests various scenarios for Yi Jin to tell her son in the future, ranging from Bo dying in a car crash, to him drowning in a toilet while drunk, to an accident he once had while guiding a soldier during a skydiving session. At that time, Bo had to rescue a soldier who lost consciousness soon after jumping from a plane. During the rescue, Bo himself fell from a great height and vanished for a moment. Eventually, Bo declares that he is exhausted and wants to sleep, leaving Yi Jin in silence as she contemplates his suggestions. One day, Sophie hosts a party at her home. At the party, Sophie congratulates Yi Jin on her pregnancy, and everyone appears delighted by the good news. Bo then invites Yi Jin to dance, and the two look happy together. While embracing Yi Jin, Bo confesses that he wants to spend his life with her. Yi Jin freezes at his words, then releases his embrace. From a distance, Yi Jin watches Bo warmly interact with the children at the party, and Sophie urges Yi Jin to accept Bo's proposal. Sophie tells Yi Jin to live with Bo, as she believes that both Yi Jin and Bo have fallen in love with each other. After the party, Yi Jin retreats to her room, pondering whether to live with Bo or to remain true to her original vow never to marry. Yi Jin then goes to see Bo and asks him to go home, as his work is finished. Bo is visibly disappointed by Yi Jin's decision. The next day, Bo prepares to return to Hong Kong, but he hesitates and asks for an explanation about what Yi Jin has done to him. Yi Jin chooses to remain silent and lets Bo leave. The story then shifts to the day when Bo's nephew successfully underwent his ear surgery. Bo's sister-in-law is extremely grateful for his help. Days pass, yet Bo continues to think about Yi Jin. Longing for Yi Jin and the future child he imagines, Bo creates a gift, a book that recounts his and Yi Jin's love story. In the book, Bo apologizes to his son for not being present and tells him to take good care of Yi Jin. Bo then ships the book to Paris. We return to Yi Jin, who is still in Paris and appears somber. When a courier delivers a package to her, she envisions Bo arriving. Eventually, Yi Jin realizes it was merely an illusion. After reading the book, Yi Jin discovers a ring inside. The following morning, Sophie and her husband panic when Yi Jin disappears. In the midst of searching for Yi Jin, Bo shows up, back in Paris. Bo arrived because Sophie had earlier contacted him about Yi Jin's disappearance. Sophie, her husband, and Bo then head off, following the tip that Yi Jin might be nearby. Along the way, Sophie reveals what really happened to Yi Jin during her pregnancy. Yi Jin had lived alone and prepared everything for her child by herself. One day, she suffered a hemorrhage and tragically lost her baby. Grieving her loss, Yi Jin sank into depression until a courier delivered a gift from Bo. From that day onward, Yi Jin vanished. Eventually, they find Yi Jin standing on the edge of a cliff. Bo hurries over and tries to calm her down. Yi Jin appears frustrated and on the verge of ending her life. To soothe her, Bo recounts a skydiving story he once told her, a true incident involving his late brother. Bo declares that if Yi Jin wants to die, he will die with her. In the end, Yi Jin and Bo jump together from the cliff, not to commit suicide, but to skydive using the equipment Bo had prepared. They soar through the air, and Bo finally manages to melt Yi Jin's heart. They then glide above the beautiful city of Paris and land in front of the cathedral, sharing a passionate kiss as the crowd cheers in celebration. The movie concludes with a glimpse of Yi Jin and Bo's life with their children. There you have it. What did you think of that movie? Like and subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments section. See you next for more fun recaps.